everybody, Cam S here. I just got out of class and tomorrow is the opening day of bow season here in Michigan. So I am on my way home right now. I got a little bit of a drive, but I need to check some trail cameras when I get home, shoot my bow, get all practiced up, and get all the last minute preparations in for tomorrow morning. So I'll hit the road and I will see you probably when I get out at the woods and ready to check some trail cameras. So I will see you then. Well, I just made it out to the woods. I'm gonna go grab the SD card real quick, and if there's anything worth showing, I may show it to you guys. I'm not sure yet. It has to be pretty big, and I'll have to be pretty excited about it for me to show you. But go walk around real quick, see if there's any signs, and then check for trail cam. Well, this is a pretty good sign right by my trail cam, so hopefully we can pick whatever that up is, and just a few steps away there is another one. So I don't know if you could see it on the first one, but nice scrape already. And within 10 yards there's another one, so I'm gonna go check the trail cam real quick and probably walk the one side of the woods after that just to see if there's any other scrapes or anything by my other tree stands. There are a few decent bucks out here, and there's a very nice one out here. So I don't think I'm going to show you guys yet because they're not the best quality pictures and I don't want to get too excited yet. So I think I'm going to start out here tomorrow morning, but I think I'm going to move the cameras around depending on how this weekend goes. Move my cell cam out here and move this camera back to the other property where the cell cam is right now, because the camera stopped taking pictures like 5 days ago. So I don't have a pattern on this buck at all, so I'm not really sure when he's moving. I only got two pictures, or like two different time frames of when he was in here, and they weren't consistent at all. So hopefully we can get this buck figured out. I'm gonna start out here tomorrow morning like I said, and I think I was already planning on doing that because my other piece of property, they come in at night and stay like all throughout the evening, so I don't think I could make it in there without kicking up the deer. They're still pretty nocturnal in that area too, so I think it's a better start to try out here first. So I go home, shoot the bow, and figure out if I got everything around that I need to have around for tomorrow morning. So go home, shoot the bow. It is the first set of the 2021 season for archery here in Michigan, and we are up to the first chunk of property that I was talking about yesterday. And last night I got a giant buck on my other trail camera, but it was at 3:30 in the morning. The first time I've seen that buck, but it was a giant. It was a 12 point with a split, brow tine, and a kicker. So it was a very nice buck. Hopefully it breaks its nocturnal habit very soon, but I think we're all set up here in the tree stand this morning and all ready to hunt. The morning started off with me having a few does and a small buck run by my right side, but they came through too quick that I could not get them on camera. Then I had this single drop tine buck walk through that's got one lone drop tine on its left side. Shortly after, I had a group of does walk in that seemed to be pushed by this decent 8-point buck.
was trying to decide whether or not this was a buck to harvest on the very first day of the season, or if I would give it some more time to try to have a shot at one of the bigger ones that I have on camera. At this point, I decided that I was just going to wait and see what happened, and he ended up walking off. Then I had a few more does come on through that were followed by a small button buck. Then I noticed a deer off to my left. I could not tell what it was for quite some time, and then I got a better look at it, and it turned out to be a buck, but I could not get it on this camera, so I had to switch on over to the GoPro that I had set up before my hunt. And as you can see right here, it looks like he may have gotten a whiff of me, and he was pretty nervous after this point. And sure enough, he noticed my silhouette up in the tree stand and took off. A little while after that, I got this little button buck come out in my trail within perfect view of my GoPro, and he decided to check it out a little bit.
Well, I just got down from the tree stand. I don't know if you could see all of the bucks or not, but I think I ended up seeing 4 bucks this morning. 2 small ones. One of the small ones is super weird. I think I just barely got it on camera. The left side is like one big like drop tine. That's all the left side is. So it's kind of weird looking, but there was 2 bucks I think that were borderline shooters, and I couldn't really decide if I wanted to shoot either one of them. That first one that I showed you, that was a little bit bigger, didn't really give me the opportunity to shoot it, so it kind of like decided for me. And the other big one, I couldn't really tell. It wasn't very wide, but it was pretty tall. I did not get it on this camera, but I might have gotten on the GoPro. So if I got on the GoPro, I can get a better look at it, but it didn't really give me much time to decide either. It saw me and kind of trotted off. But I ended up checking the trail camera that is about 100 yards away from my tree stand, and I got one of the big bucks on camera at 8 o'clock this morning working on a scrape. So apparently I sat in the wrong tree stand because the big buck was at my other tree stand about 50 yards from my other tree stand, which it might have walked by my tree stand to get to that spot. So at least I know he's still out here. That was the one I got on camera when my camera stopped working for like 5 days. So at least we know he's still out here. Just stinks that I wasn't in the right stand, but that seems to be how it always works. So probably be back out here tonight, but it's supposed to be very warm today, so I'm not sure how well of a hunt it will be if it's that warm, but give it a try. It was a good morning though. Saw some decent bucks and a lot of deer in general, so had a lot of action, so it was a good morning. I will see you tonight or tomorrow morning. So it is opening day evening. I decided to still come out even though it is 76 degrees right now. Probably the hottest hunting trip or hunting experience that I've ever had. It's just crazy for October 1st to be this hot, so I still came out. And I came out to the tree stand closer to the trail camera that I got the big buck on this morning. I decided to come out to this chunk of property because I think they're still pretty nocturnal over where I got the big 12 point this morning on camera. But I went back there and put a little bit of like scent on the deer scrape that they have there, so I tried to get that all stirred up in there so they get all riled up, so that they kind of break their habit of being nocturnal. So hopefully that can get them out of their pattern if they think that another big buck is in the area. So we are out here tonight. It's supposed to drop like 10 degrees at 7 o'clock, and then sunset is shortly thereafter. So hopefully with the temperature dropping so quick, the deer will start moving around that time. Hopefully they'll start moving earlier than that, but I hope we just see some deer tonight.
And not too long after I said that, my hopes came true because I had a group of does come out in the brush. Shortly after that, I had another group of does come in, but they must have picked up my scent on the ground from when I walked in, and they ran right past my GoPro. Eventually, that same group of does calmed down and came walking back through. Just as they disappeared, I had a small 4-point come in from the opposite direction. He hung out for a bit, and shortly after, a nice-sized doe came walking in right underneath of me, and then there was a gap of no deer for a while, and then I saw some off in the distance, but this was my closest encounter for the rest of the night.
Just got back to the car. Tonight was a lot less eventful than this morning. I still saw quite a bit of deer, but it was like in waves that I would see a lot of deer, then nothing for a long time, and then I'd see a lot of deer all at the same time in all other places, and then it would just stop. So it was a lot more different than this morning, because this morning I felt like I was constantly seeing deer, and then tonight it was either I would see deer everywhere or not see anything at all for a long time. So I did see that one small buck come underneath me, but other than that, I did not for sure see any deer with antlers. So I think I'm coming back out here tomorrow morning and gonna give it a try. So that will wrap up opening day. Hello, everybody. We are up in the tree stand for day 2 of opening weekend, and Alyssa decided to join me today, so I have a camera lady, hopefully ready to go. We're in the double tree stand, our first time ever in a tree stand, so we got her all strapped in and ready to go, I think. Hopefully we see a lot of deer this morning.
The morning started off with some deer right underneath our tree stand before the sun rose, but we could not get a good look on them. Then I looked behind me and noticed this small buck way off in the distance. After he moved on, we had a group of nice turkeys come in that actually had some pretty nice toms that we did unfortunately not capture on camera. After these turkeys cleared out, we had a group of does come in, but I did not throw them into the video because there's a lot of footage of does that does not need to be included in the video. Then we had these 2 small bucks come walking through in front of our tree stand. After a little while of these guys walking through, we had another buck emerge from the brush. And he ended up walking right in front of the GoPro that I'd placed down the trail.
Well, that concludes morning number 2 of the opening weekend. It started off pretty busy. We had deer by us when it was still pretty dark out. We couldn't tell what they were. And then they kind of got spooked off. And it was pretty off and on.
Saw a lot of small bucks.
Yeah, we saw, I think, 3 or 4 small bucks. And then quite a bit of does coming in from the open field. So it wasn't too bad of a morning. It was pretty eventful, and hopefully going to be heading out again tonight.
Go buy the merch.
Hello, everybody. It is night number 2. Alyssa decided that she was going to come on out with me again tonight. My dad is in another tree stand, so hopefully between the 2 of us, or I guess 3 of us out here, we can get something done tonight. We're set up in the same tree stand that we were this morning, and hopefully we're ready to go.
On this hunt, I ended up propping up the GoPro so you could see us, and I gave a little wave there if you could see. And then we got the other GoPro up here to get hopefully a decent view of a shot. A while into our hunt, we ended up having a very big group of does come walking through, and shortly after they made their way through, they ended up running back from the open field. So I'm not sure what spooked them, but we ended up seeing about 10 or more does in that group. But once they disappeared, we didn't see anything for quite some time. Once we finally did see something, it was another very small buck. And as I mentioned earlier, my dad was also out in the woods in a different tree stand, but he was not having nearly as much luck as we were for seeing things. He only ended up seeing about 4 or 5 does this night. This buck hung around for quite some time, and he ended up walking out in the trail right in front of my GoPro. And after he made his way out of the area, we did not see anything for quite some time, except for some tails off in the distance on the other side of the woods. Then this button buck came in who thinks he is quite the hot shot to be able to work on some scrapes.
That wraps up night number 2. It was not too bad of a night out there. The wind was blowing and it was super hot again.
Lots of mosquitoes.
A lot of mosquitoes. I was going a little crazy up there, having to bat those away every second. But it was pretty warm tonight, so there was a decent amount moving for as warm as it was. But it was super windy, so the deer were super on edge. And it calls for rain like all night tonight, so I'm not completely sure if I'll be able to go out in the morning. It's supposed to clear up like an hour before sunrise, so if that's the case, I'm gonna set my alarm, and if that's the case where it's gonna clear up for the rest of the morning, I'm gonna head out, and hopefully that'll get the deer stirred up and moving around. But I'm not gonna hunt in the rain because I don't want to risk shooting a deer and then have it keep raining, especially with a bow, and not be able to find it. So if it's not raining, I will head out tomorrow. Tomorrow's my last chance for the weekend, tomorrow morning, because we're heading back to school tomorrow afternoon. So hopefully I can give it one last try before the weekend's over to get something done. So hopefully I will see you tomorrow morning.
Unfortunately, this wraps up the first episode of season 2 of Chasing Tails. It ended up raining the rest of that next day, and I did not want to go out because it's not very easy to track a deer in the rain, and I did not want to get completely soaked. So I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Chasing Tails for season 2, and let me know if you have any suggestions down in the comment section, if that's too much commentary, not enough commentary, or if it's just right. And let me know if you have any other suggestions. Don't forget to check out camsoutdoors.com and to post your trophy pictures on there as well. I would love to see your trophy pictures, and I'm sure everybody else would love to see them too. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.